But when lawmakers return from their Easter recess, it's going to get rowdy in there as Republicans try to hammer out a deal on a multi-trillion-dollar tax and spending package. One idea gaining traction for how to fill in the big gaps in the plan is a mega tax on the mega rich, a top tax bracket of almost 40% on Americans making more than $1 million a year. It's essentially allowing the 2017 tax cuts to expire, but only for the highest earners. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa, who sits on the Finance Committee, has confirmed that debate is ongoing about what would be the first big Republican tax hike since George H.W. Bush got roasted for bad lip reading. But taxing the rich is popular with populists, and time is running short to meet the budget reconciliation deadline. So, with us now is Tennessee Republican David Kustoff, who sits on the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, thank you for making time for us. Polls show again and again that most Americans would be happy for the wealthiest citizens to pay more, but that runs into conservative economic theories prevalent since the days of Ronald Reagan and Milton Friedman, trickle down and all that. Where are you on the question?
Yeah, I don't support increasing taxes on anyone, and thank you for having me on this evening. I don't support a tax increase on anyone. You know, one reason I think that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we passed in 2017 was so popular and so beneficial and so great for the economy was we lowered taxes for everyone. And I will say that one criticism, there were a lot of criticisms from the other side when we worked on this legislation 7-8 years ago, was that the revenues to the U.S. Treasury would decrease if we lowered taxes for everyone. We gave a deduction for small business. We lowered the corporate rate from 35 to 21%. That didn't happen. The revenues to the U.S. Treasury have increased since we passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And the fact of the matter is that we need to incentivize everybody at all levels of the spectrum to continue to want to work, to continue to want to earn. In the end, it's a win-win. It's a win for the taxpayer, and it's a win for the U.S. Treasury.
Okay, but you have to do something. The Senate blueprint that just passed the House would add almost $6 trillion to the deficit over time, according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. That's more than all the COVID stimulus and the first Trump tax cuts combined. The new report from DOJ says the savings they're going to come up with are a pittance compared to the original estimates. Where do you get that money, or do we just blow up the debt again?
Well, there are a number of issues. One is, do the tax cuts, are they extended permanently? Are they extended for a period of time? Is there a hodgepodge in there somewhere? There are a number of ways to pay for. Of course, one way that we used to pay for the tax cuts 8 years ago was to put a cap on state and local taxes, $10,000. So if you're in a state like I am in Tennessee, that doesn't really affect that many people, especially when you look at our state and nationwide. When we doubled the standard deduction, that almost 85 to 88% of the people filing taxes nationwide take the standard deduction. There is no doubt that there was an impact to the higher tax states like California, New York, what have you. But when we did that back 8 years ago, that paid for almost $1 trillion in tax cuts over 10 years. So my point is, there are a number of different things that we can look at rather than raise rates on high income earners. We're doing that. The Ways and Means Committee has been, at least the Republicans, we've been locked in a room for periods of time, literally over the last several months. We'll continue to do that. We're going to put a product on the House floor that I think will pass. And ultimately, when we talk about, Chris, this one big, beautiful bill, which not only includes the tax portion that you're talking to me about, but possibly border and energy and other things, when we take that vote and when it passes the House and when it passes the Senate, I think this will be the legacy for Donald Trump, not only in this term, but also in the first term, in its entirety of the 8 years.
Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.